Hi everyone, I'm Sarah from Advantage Health. Today I'll be taking you through some yoga moves that actually help build your immune system. If you would like to follow along with these moves, you sure can. You don't need anything except a mat and yourself. So we'll get started with our first move. The first one is called Sun Salutations, which is actually a series of yoga moves put together and using your breath. So go ahead and join me if you'd like. We're gonna start up at the top of the mat in what we call a mountain pose. We'll start here with just a couple deep breaths. One more deep inhale. As you exhale, we'll come into a forward fold, leaning forward, bending our legs, meeting our bellies down to our thighs. Release the top of your head or the crown of your head down towards the floor. Inhale, come up to a halfway lift, bringing your head up to your heart level with a nice flat back and an active core. Exhale, hands come down. Step your feet back into a plank. This first time around, I will show the full sun salutation. The second time, I'll do a modified version. So from your plank, you're gonna exhale into a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, a downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step your right leg forward in between your hands, taking your right hand behind your ankle and giving your foot a little help up to the front if you need to. As we inhale, we'll come up into a crescent lunge. Exhale, float your hands down. Frame your right foot and step your right foot back, coming into our plank again. So this time I'll show modified versions of what we just did is called a vinyasa. So this time around, if you'd like, you can try kneeling plank, exhaling all the way down to the floor, bringing your belly and your chest to the floor. Inhale into a cobra, just peeling your chest away as you press the tops of your feet firmly down into the mat. Exhale into a downward facing dog. From here, push up to your knees, tuck your toes, hips go up and back. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky. As we exhale, we'll step that left leg forward in between the hands, lower down to the right knee, and inhale up into a kneeling lunge. Exhale, hands float down. Frame your left foot, press up onto your right toes, step your left foot back into our plank. And again, we'll flow through that vinyasa, exhaling down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck your toes and downward facing dog. From here, we'll inhale and look forward towards the front of the mat or towards our fingertips. As we exhale, walk feet up, meeting hands, coming back into our forward fold. Release the crown of the head down towards the floor. Inhale up, chair pose. Send your hips back, weight goes into your heels. Arms are reached out to the front or maybe hands to heart center. Inhale, up tall mountain pose. And there's a sun salutation. So you can keep repeating that same sequence, or there are multiple different versions of sun salutations. So this one might not look familiar to you, and that's fine. You can find different versions all over the internet. This is just the one I traditionally do in my yoga classes. The next yoga move that will help with your immunity is called eagle arms. So for eagle arms, we're gonna start off with arms out, shoulder width apart. Elbows up are about in line with your shoulders, so about 90 degrees. And we'll start by crossing the right arm underneath the left, hooking our elbows together, and then touching the backs of our hands. Side views like this. Make sure those elbows are still up in line with your shoulders. And this is eagle arms. Another option I will show you here. Let's uncross those arms. Bring them back to the start. This time we'll go left under right. Touch the backs of the hands together. Now, if you feel like you can take this move a little bit further, you can continue crossing your arms until your palms are touching. And then again, just make sure your elbows are still up at shoulder height. go ahead and unwind those arms, bring them out, and shake them. So let them hang loose. Our next move that we'll go through are arm circles. So traditionally, arm circles, you reach an arm up and bring it back. You're circling your arm around. Those work just fine for this. I'm just going to show you a little variation so you have a little more knowledge and a little more in your exercise handbook. So I'll turn to the side. You can see this view a little better. We're going to move with our breath on this one as well, just as we did for the sun salutations. So we'll inhale, reach an arm up towards the ceiling. And for this arm circle, our eyes are going to follow our fingertips the entire time. As we exhale, hand comes down behind the back. We're still following those fingertips with our eyes. Fingers reach down to the floor and start over. Inhale, up to the sky. Exhale, a little bit of a twist. Fingers come down towards the floor. And now we'll even out other side. Inhale, fingers up to the sky. Follow those fingertips with your eyes. Exhale, hand goes behind your back down to the floor. Inhale, reach those fingers up high. And exhale, twist. Let your fingers fall down behind you. And back. And there we go. Our next move are twists. So there are many different twists that you can do in yoga. One twist is what we just did. You're twisting and watching your fingers go behind your back. A couple popular or common options that you might see in a yoga class is a lunge with a twist or a crescent lunge with a twist. So we'll just get into a crescent lunge by stepping our left foot back behind us, finding some good space in between those legs. Toes are facing forward, and we have a bend in that front leg. So we came into a crescent lunge from our sun salutations. So if we're through our sun salutation, we'll say hands are up to the sky. We'll exhale, hands down to heart center. From here, we'll start twisting, initiating the twist with an inhale, lengthening through the spine, feeling long from the crown of your head down to your tailbone. And then exhale, start the twist in your belly, taking your belly button, twisting it towards your front leg, in this case, our right thigh. And then continue the twist through your chest, and then finally opening your shoulders to the side. And some deep breaths here. With each exhale, you can try to sink into that twist a little bit more if it's within your comfort zone. And on an inhale, we'll unwind, find ourselves back to the center. Hands are up. Exhale to the sides. Step that left leg forward. All right, we'll repeat on the other side just for another viewpoint. Crescent lunge, begin by stepping your right leg back this time. Nice long stance. Front foot is firmly planted down to the floor, grounded down through your mat. Inhale, fingertips reach up to the sky. Here comes our twist. As we exhale, hands come down to the heart. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, nice and long. Exhale, twist, leading from your belly button again, this time towards your left thigh. Opening through your chest, and finally into those shoulders. Again, some nice deep breaths. With each exhale, you can try to sink a little deeper into the twist, if you please. Inhale, unwind yourself, we'll face forward. Hands reach up. And exhale, hands float down to the sides as we step our back foot to the front. Back to the start in our mountain pose. So our next and final series of yoga poses for building the immune system are back bends. So I will show you a couple versions down on the mat. There are many different back bends that you can do throughout yoga. These are just the first one we'll start with is a bridge. So for a bridge, you have feet to the front and we're going to lay all the way down on our backs. Knees are bent, feet are in line with your hips. And here we're going to drive through our feet, ground down through all four corners of the feet, activate our core, our glutes, and our lower back, and start lifting our hips up away from the mat, rolling up one vertebrae at a time until we come into our bridge. Make sure you're still squeezing those inner thighs. Grounding down through all four corners of those feet. Still important to have a good solid foundation. If you choose, you can actually take your hands right underneath your hips, interlace your fingers, and that will give you a little bit more of a back bend here. Keep those knees in line with the hips. Let go of the fingers and slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. Bringing your back and your hips down to the mat. All right, there was back bend number one. The next one we're gonna do is called a camel. So to get to our camel, we're gonna start on our knees, kneeling position up tall. We're gonna take our fists and place them kind of right above our glutes or kind of on our hip bones straight behind us. For this one, we're gonna be leaning backwards, but in a very specific way. So to get here, squeezing your shoulder blades together, bringing your elbows behind your back. Inhale and lengthen through the spine, just as we did for our twist. As we exhale, we'll press our hips forward, kind of starting to create that back bend. Inhale and lengthen through your spine again. Exhale, press your hips forward. Continue here until you get into your back bend, your camel pose. Making sure the entire time your hips are still stacked right over your knees. A couple deep breaths. Next inhale, we'll come all the way back up to the top. Release those hands down by our sides. And a good pose to counteract back bends is actually a child's pose. So we'll go ahead and take a child's pose just to let our back relax a little bit. So widen your knees about the width of your mat. Sink your hips back to your heels, reach your fingertips forward. And if you have the space, you can let your forehead come all the way down to the mat. If your neck and shoulders don't allow for your head to reach all the way down, you can take your fists stacked right on top of one another and then rest your forehead on your fists as well. All right, the next and final back bend pose I'll show you is called a locust. So for this one, we're gonna come into kind of what would be a kneeling plank and then lower all the way down to the floor. So we're flat on our bellies. Legs are extended behind us, where we're gonna reach our hands and our arms down by our sides, palms facing up. So for our locust, we'll start by inhaling and coming into a cobra again, which is another version of a back bend. So like in the cobra, we had our hands under our shoulders. This time our hands are down by our sides, and we're gonna peel our sternum and our chest away from the floor and hold here. Now you also have the option to pick your feet up away from the floor and hold in a full locust, or if it feels best, keep those feet down on the floor. Something to pay attention to here is making sure you keep your neck neutral, so your eyes are actually looking down towards the floor instead of up out in front of you, almost as if you're holding like a big grapefruit right here underneath your chin, trying to keep that grapefruit there, kind of squeezing it a little bit. Go ahead and exhale, lower back down. Press yourself back up. And those are our yoga moves, our yoga poses to build our immune system. Now we're gonna go through some yogic breaths. The first breath that we're gonna practice is called Ujjayi Breath. For that, we need to have a nice tall posture to begin. And we'll be breathing through our nose and out through our nose as well. So to begin, we're going to practice belly breathing. So belly breathing is breathing into your belly, breathing in, inhaling. You should feel your belly rise out to the front. And as you exhale, you should feel your belly button or your navel pull in as you press that breath back out. So the Ujjayi breath, we're going to breathe out in through our nose and then out through our nose. But as we breathe out, we're gonna think about contracting the muscles in our throat to create some some movement and some heat in the back of our throat. You may also think of this as kind of the Darth Vader breath. It might sound like that, or blowing draw without moving your lips. So if you'd like to practice along with me, you can, or you can just see how it's done and then try it again on your own. So to start, breathe in through your nose. So you can kind of hear that a deep back of the throat sound there. And as you're doing your breath out, be mindful of your jaw and your throat. Try to keep your muscles here relaxed. You're not trying to contract and be forceful. It's still passive. You're still taking that breath out through your nose. We'll try it one more time. It's okay if it feels a little weird at first. It might take a little practice to get with that type of breath. The next breath we're going to go through is called the breath of fire. So this, and with the belly breath, we'll start breathing in, feel your belly come out. Your breath will be passive on the inhale, but very forceful on the exhale. Your inhale will be just a suck in, and then as you breathe out, we're gonna do short bursts of breaths out. So you can follow along with me again, or if you prefer to watch, you can watch and try again on your own later. So we'll start with our inhale here. So you can see how the exhale is very forceful and very rapid. So inhale is passive, here we go again. Your exhale should almost feel as if you're trying to blow your nose at this point. So we'll try one more time together. Passive inhale. And there we have it. That is the breath of fire. So you can go ahead and practice these breaths and these yoga poses to help build your immune system. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Have a great day.